Crow, you were actually relevant. All for like 2 seconds. And now this. Now you get nerfed.
You'll stop being a baby, Lex.
Hey everyone, what's happening? Lex back today for another Brawl Stars video, and today we are going to be going over the balance changes that have just dropped in-game. All the buffs, all the nerfs, and what that means to you. We've had some gadgets that were really, kind of broken and or crappy to start off with, and I still think they have left some out of these buffs and nerfs that they should have addressed. We'll get there, but first off, let's just take a look at the actual balance changes that have been implemented in-game. First off is B. They have increased her main attack projectile speed by 5%. So her shots are going to travel just a little bit faster. I don't really think this was particularly needed. I think that B was perfectly fine. Her shots were wide. They weren't hard to hit. Yeah, they moved a little bit slow, but you have a slow that stops people, and she does a ton of burst, especially at medium range. You can just auto-aim. So I don't really see why this was needed, but obviously, they've got some numbers and their, data that shows that maybe her win percentage wasn't very good, or her use rate. Whatever it is, B is getting a buff, and it's going to be that much harder to dodge those charged shots that will just absolutely obliterate you. Next up is a brawler that has been kind of down in the meta for quite some time. She got multiple health nerfs, and now she is finally getting a buff. Is it the right one? You guys let me know in the comments down below, but it's Bibi. She is getting her movement speed changed from fast to very fast. So she is now going to be as fast as, say, Mortis or Crow. And then if you add her speed boost on top of that, if you're using the speed star power, that chick is going to be running really fast. Again, I think that she really does need a buff, and any buff at this point is welcome to Bibi, but is this the right one? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. So I think this is a good starting point, but some of that health back that she's been missing might be a good thing, but she's just been really kind of overshadowed by a lot of the tanks, even though she is kind of like sort of supposed to be a tank counter. It hasn't been working out real great for her. She's been really down in the meta, especially with brawlers like EMZ being in play and all the pushbacks now that you're getting from some of the other gadgets. She's been hurting, and hopefully this will bring her back into relevance because she just has not been getting much play here lately. Next up is a healer that also just, again, doesn't get a ton of play, and usually when he does, it's in very certain comps that you can make use of his star power and now his gadget, and that is Poco. They have increased his main attack damage from 660 up to 700. So Poco, just straight across the board, is getting a damage increase, which is going to be a very nice thing. I think that's something that Poco really does need. I mean, is it a ton of damage? No, that's not really his role. It's more control and support and healing, but I think that this is a good thing for Poco, and it's really going to help him, see a little bit more use outside of those really strange double tank healer comps. Here's one that definitely caught me off guard, and that's Spike. Spike, I thought, was just kind of average. He's, very good in certain roles that he can play, but Curveball is getting its effectiveness increased by 50%. Now, they didn't have the dev build ready for us, so I couldn't get actual footage of this new effect of the curveball, but I'm assuming that it's just going to rotate more, somewhat similar to what it did when it was first released. Obviously, people weren't using curveball very much because it was clearly inferior than Fertilize. It was. Fertilize was better across the board. The bad side about this is that curveball takes a ton of the skill out of Spike. Not that Spike is a particularly high skill capped brawler, but using curveball as the star power, you could literally just throw his shots in the general vicinity of somebody and you're going to hit them with at least one Spike shot. That's a little stupid, in my opinion. I still like brawlers that are a higher skill cap because it gives me something to aspire to. Brawlers like Mortis and Colt and that sort of thing, because they're more challenging to play, but they're also more rewarding whenever you play them very well. Now, of course, we just got all the gadgets in Brawl Stars, and they're a lot of fun. They really add a lot of depth to the game. However, there's a couple of them that have taken brawlers that were already good and made them, ridiculous. Speaking of EMZ. EMZ is getting a nerf to her gadget usage. You only use it 2 times per game rather than 3. So I think that's good. How big of a difference is that going to make? I'm not sure. Is EMZ still going to be ridiculously strong? 100% yes, she is. At least on the bright side, you are only going to get put in the friend zone twice. I wish I could say that was true for my life. Speaking of gadgets that worked really well with OP brawlers, let's talk about Gene and Lamp Blowout. The healing has been reduced from 1,000 to 700. I think this is a very good change. The reason I think this is because brawlers like, say, Bull, the only thing his gadget can do is heal himself for 1,500, which is really good. That's a very nice thing for Bull. However, Gene's was healing himself 1,000 as well as pushing people back. So it covered up a weakness of his as well as gave him health. It's a little bit strong, so they cut down the healing. I wouldn't mind seeing the healing cut down to, say, 500. I still think that it would be a really good gadget, and Gene is still going to be extremely strong in the game modes that he is good in, which is almost everything except for, like, Heist. He's not good at, just don't play him in Heist. Or maybe Solo Showdown. Probably not very good there either. Duo Showdown, good. Now, from OP gadgets to just straight up OP brawlers. Jacky. She was just released, and she got a almost immediate nerf because she was just too strong. Well, Brawl Stars decided that's not enough. You're still too good. We're nerfing you some more. So Jacky is getting her health reduced from 5,500 down to 5,200. So it's a pretty substantial health nerf. I still think that Jacky's going to be good, but I think we're bringing her back into the range where, okay, now you're manageable. Now you're not this indestructible thing that presses its gadget, runs at me, pulls me in with your super, and I'm just dead. You're just dead. So hopefully this will bring Jacky back down from the stratosphere back to Earth, and she can compete with all the other brawlers on a more even footing, because right now she is just very strong. As if you watch the Brawl Stars Championship, you would know this because Jacky was banned almost every single time on every single match of the Brawl Stars Championship. That's how good she is. Her and EMZ were the ones that were banned almost all the time. Now, the last brawler we have to talk about hits me close to home because Crow. Let's just talk about Crow here. Was Crow really good before gadgets? No. He was very mediocre at best. Gadgets came along, and his was actually a very good gadget. I get it. His gadget was very good. But Brawl Stars has decided that no, Crow, you cannot have any time in the sun. We are relegating you back to average status, and they're taking his gadget and they're reducing the usage. You can only use it now twice per match instead of 3. I mean, I guess I get it. Because that gadget is extremely good, but that's pretty much the only thing that Crow has going for him. Yeah, he's a very annoying brawler. Sits back and pokes at you and you think, oh my god, Crow, just leave me alone. I get it, but aside from being annoying, he's not like he's super duper strong. He was just average. And this made him relevant 3 times per match. Now it's going to be 2. Is it that big of a deal? No. Am I overreacting? Yes, I probably am. But he's my favorite brawler. And I was just excited to be able to use Crow and be a little bit more dynamic with him outside of just sitting back and poking. And now that's going to be only 2 times a match instead of 3. So Crow's gadget gets nerfed from 3 usages down to 2 per game. Since some gadgets got some nerfs, what about some brawlers that I think should have gotten their gadgets buffed or maybe even completely reworked, but were left untouched? How about Dynamite? Literally the worst gadget in the game. It does nothing. Besides look really cool after you kill somebody in Showdown, his gadget does nothing. Like once in a while you'll get one. If you just happen to hit the lottery, you're going to get 2 hits on somebody. It just doesn't happen. Then it ends, as well as he just stands there spinning in a circle waiting for somebody to kill him. I don't get it. They didn't touch his gadget whatsoever, and I think that they really missed the mark on this one. Maybe they've got something bigger planned, but Fidget Spinner, Dynamite's gadget, should have 100% been buffed. 1,000%. 1 trillion, 11 million % buffed. That's a real number. You can look it up. Another gadget that I think should have been touched a little bit was Primo's. Now, his gadget is actually really fun. It's his suplex supplement is actually a really fun gadget. Picking somebody up and throwing them can be useful in Brawl Ball, but for the most part, it's not like amazing. I think that what they should do with this gadget is make a little bit of damage to the end of the suplex. I mean, dude, a wrestler just picked you up and chucked you over his shoulder. Don't you think that would do a little bit of damage? 300 damage? 500 damage? Something? I mean, maybe I just want to suplex somebody when they're sub 500 health and watch them die when they splat on the ground. Maybe. All right, you got me. Sue me. But, no, don't sue me. Please don't sue me. Also, almost as bad as Dynamite's gadget is Daryl's gadget. It's right. It does more damage than Dynamite's because it'll usually hit something, but it does almost nothing, and I just don't see... They need to buff that somehow. I don't know what the answer is, but spraying more pellets or doing more damage or... I'm not sure, but normally I played Daryl where I went full games and just didn't really find a use to do it. Another one here is Piper. Now, Piper's gadget isn't as bad as I originally thought it was going to be, but it's still really bad. It doesn't do much damage, and it's pretty much only ever used if somebody's closing in on you and you have no more shots left. In that case, yeah, cool. It might be helpful to help finish off that last tiny bit of the health of a brawler, but for the most part, it's pretty bad. Same thing with B. B's turret... the range on it isn't very great, and it dies so easy that it's kind of like, Nobody's just gonna, you see it, you're not just gonna walk into it for, for giggles. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Now, one last brawler that I think that his gadget should have been touched just a tiny bit, or at least tweaked a little bit, or changed how it worked, is Mortis. Now, Mortis didn't get any buffs at all, which I think that he definitely could use a buff, but I think that his gadget should be able to be used while moving. It's just that the whole point of Mortis is to dash and move really fast and be nimble and agile, and he just has to stop and spin his shovel. He can dash and swing his shovel. Why can't he just spin and hit it? I don't know. I think that would be really good for Mortis if he could use his gadget while moving. That would be pretty nice. But that is the list of the buffs and the nerfs that have just dropped in-game. You guys let me know what you think in the comments down below of these buffs and nerfs. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Which brawlers did they miss? Which brawlers did they mess up on? You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, until next time, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out.